How you doing? My name is, can you put it up a little bit?
Yeah.
My name is Keisha Cummings. I'm the founder of Two Love LLC. Um, People would probably consider me a gun violence advocate in Richmond. I don't consider myself, I don't like the word gun violence because it puts all the onus on the children and or young adults, females and males that are committing the gun violence or the act. And it takes a lot of acknowledgement off of us as individuals and as society. And so I have lost probably 40 young men and women to gun violence in terms of them being killed or murdered, and I've lost probably just that much in terms of them committing violent acts. And so I serve both sides. And so I'm glad that you spoke, Ms. Daniels, because at the end of the day, we have to acknowledge that we are all working in a system that is not working for us as people. And I didn't really know what to talk about, but you said that you wanted a voice here, so I decided to try to be that voice that is not here, and to see what I would say if I was that voice. And if I was that voice, I would say that voice, that unheard voice, is why did Ms. Keisha get a phone call from Parks and Recreation after I was finally letting Martin Luther King, thank you, Mr. Cameras, in the after-school program. We talk about after-school programs, and Commonwealth Attorney Colette McKeachin said that it is juveniles and the chief of police that are committing the crimes. These are not 10-year-olds, so I would assume that the average age would be between 14 and 18. So if I was somebody, I would want to know from Mosby Court, why did Ms. Keisha get a phone call from Parks and Rec saying that the police made the decision to close Martin Luther King Gym, a place where I could finally breathe and go and play basketball. It was open for 8 weeks. It was almost 100 kids that came into there, and as soon as school stopped, when the summertime came, it was closed. And when I asked Parks and Rec why it was closed, they told me that they had transferred it from the Fairfield Court, which has nothing to do with Mosby babies or Creighton babies or Wickham babies. And they also told me that they had it at George Wythe, which has absolutely nothing to do with Hillside babies or the babies in San Susie, or you might say Southwood. And so when I bring these statistics up, I just want stuff to be brought up to acknowledge it so that we can understand it and so that we can move forward together as a people with solutions. If I lived in public housing, I would say, why in the last 3 years has RHA spent $3.1 million on surveillance, but no recreation center is open where I live at? Why don't I have programs for my mother to go in there and fill out a job application, or for some mental health counseling for the Broken Men Foundation to come inside of Fairfield Court and Wickham Court and to treat me, or come into Hillside, or come into San Susie or Southwood, what they call it now, and treat me? That's what I would want to know. I would want to know, how could you possibly, I know the grant says public safety, but prevention is public safety. I would want to know how the Calhoun Center has been closed for 12 years, but yet the city opened it to let Kevin Durant film a movie there. But these babies didn't have a pool. It's an Olympic-sized swimming pool in Gilpin Court in the Calhoun Center. If you guys do not know, it is not a small pool. It is a beautiful pool that can be used for competitive swimming. And I want it to be open before the city takes over it next year and starts to tear it down for other people to move in. I would want to know why I live in Hillside and I haven't had a recreation center open to me in years, where we have a program in Southside, where we have so many grassroots people that are coming out there day in that you guys never see, because you know what? They're never going to be called on stage. They are in the trenches. A lot of them are black men that have come home and they want to get back and serve their community. But like Mr. Bowling said, they don't qualify because there's too much red tape. You have a lot of black men and Hispanic men that want to come into RPS and have groups with these young people, but they can't because it's a lot of red tape. And again, I'm saying this so that we can change some things. If I was somebody and I had to speak up, I would want to know, the chief said that in 2021 we had the most violent crime. The basketball courts are still not up in Wickham Court. They still do not have nets up. It is no nets on Accommodation Street. Sorry, Fairfield, I don't know. Oh, they got the gym over there in Fairfield. There are no nets. It does not cost that much to put a net up. During the pandemic, like Mr. Cameron said, 173 million additional dollars came in for funding. 60 million went to the ESL community. I don't know to the Hispanic population or the Latinx population whether or not y'all saw it hit the community. I just know I never saw it hit the community in the hood. So I know what it say on paper, but I don't know. I know I never saw it. And I know 20 of it was supposed to be allocated for what that sister said, which is social emotional learning. We have to take the O out. Everybody is focused on the SOL. We have to focus on humanity first. Because when we focus on humanity and what is going on with these kids and what is going on with people out here, that is what's going to stop the gun violence. Okay? Because you can have a gun all day long. I can have a gun there all day long. I'm not going to pick it up. It is something that's going on inside a person to make them want to play God and take someone else's life. That's what we have to face. And we all, including myself, have to take acknowledgement on the part that we play. Because we can't continue to look like Colette said, it is election time coming up. It's 140 seats coming up. This is an election that never happened. And next year, the mayoral election is going to come up. And city council election is going to come up. And school board election is going to come up. So we have to stop relying on them to do what is working for them clearly. It's not working for us. It's not working for the people. And when I say them, I'm not talking about them individually. I'm just talking about the system because they are also part of a system as well that may not be working for them. As far as the police, it has to go both ways. It has to go both ways. The community aspect has to go both ways. I'm trying to bridge different things. I was in Hillside the other day checking on my students, and I saw somebody come, and the lady just stared. So I walk over, I said, "How you doing? Everything all right?" She giving me the same look that she giving the kids. So I'm like, dang, how would she look at them if I wasn't here? I'm like, well, you're staring. She's like, yeah. I'm like, you just gonna sit here and stare? She like, yeah. But who are you to do that? That's what Mr. Bolin is saying. Would you do that to Mr. Cameron? You wouldn't. So we got to acknowledge that. And so, okay. I'm sorry. What is the vulnerable?
We got somebody more behind you.
60 vulnerable communities. I just wanted to, I'm sorry, you guys. It's a lot that I had to say. I wanted to be that voice. That voice is not heard. Of course, that voice is not going to come to the police station. So we just have to acknowledge that we have to do stuff in an unorthodox way, a different way. And I appreciate each and every one of you guys for coming here and lending your voice and trying to come up with a solution. And thank you, sir.
Thank you.